Yeah, this pardoning thing is kind of interesting. Our sitting president is in a position to pardon people that implicate him in possible crime, but sometimes they pardon people because they just like people and don't want them in jail. The speculations are the first person on the list that would likely be Paul Manafort, Trump's one-time campaign chairman. He was convicted of tax and bank fraud, and he later pleaded guilty to two conspiracy counts in a separate but related case brought by the Mueller team. So there's one, Paul Manafort. Some others will be, let's see, former Deputy Rick Gates also was convicted as part of the Russia probe. Gates said neither he or his lawyers have been in touch with the White House, so he's not asking, but he would happily accept a pardon. That's what they're saying here. I believe the pardons would be warranted, Gates told NPR, National Public Radio. It's the president's decision ultimately, but I'm hopeful and would certainly be grateful if he would issue one. Now, there's something like 23,000 people in federal prisons that can get pardoned by this president if they want. Have had their situations up for years waiting for pardons. He could do wholesale clearing out of people who've been have been on death row and out again, eligible for parole and release from and or pardoned or given clemency, mercy. The president has all kinds of power to do that. When George Bush Sr. left office after 12 years with 8 years with Reagan and his 4-year term, he pardoned people involved in Iran-Contra, which is a criminal action led by Ollie North. So all these people got pardoned for different things. Weinberger, Poindexter, all those people around in drug running to sell weapons to Iran and other places, from Iran to those places. So there was a lot of shenanigans, and pardoning to clean things away for people is what is often done in the presidency. And this president is more than likely to do a bunch of pardons. It does create situations where people will be more sympathetic toward him down the road when he's in trouble with the state of New York, which Mr. Trump is going to be in big trouble. It's not going to be easy when he gets out. He'll be extradited from Florida to testify in New York City, and that will be quite interesting. The media will be all over that like flies on fly paper. Yeah, and Florida will be a reprieve up to a point, and after a point, it won't be a reprieve. He'll be flying up to New York without Air Force One. He'll be doing his own little Trump plane flights to New York City. And likely, in some situations, they will try to avoid embarrassing him by handcuffing him for the public. But he'll get handcuffed along the way, and people will know it. It's just going to happen. What he's been involved in is not good. So he'll be merciful to those people that have been hoping, like Manafort and like others. But after that, if you're going to see to get his base people behind him again, which he will have a little trouble doing. Kyle Rittenhouse, the kid that shot 3 people, supposedly in self-defense because somebody went after him to keep him from shooting them with a skateboard and caught him in the neck with it. But he shot and killed one of the 3 people. Anyway, he killed him. And he'll get a commutation or clemency or something like that to block his being charged, which will cause a real uproar in the Justice Department. And I think they'll bring back charges later on at the state level. Wisconsin will charge him, Rittenhouse, with whatever they want to charge him with. So the pardon will only affect the federal side of Rittenhouse, and that's all it'll affect. But the others, his children, especially the double dealing of his daughter Ivanka and her buying and selling of patents in China, which is very, very suspect. The buying of the post office building and renting it out to people to come to the initial inauguration, very suspect. It's called emoluments. When you do buying and selling from your business and you're in the president's and you're buying up rent or renting out and making money off of properties and you're the direct beneficiary, that's a violation of the emoluments clause, which does not allow for that. It's illegal. So there's a lot of problems that Mr. Trump is going to be getting hit with. So just expect that. So,
Maxwell.
excuse me?
Maxwell.
Oh my God, how did I forget that? Ghislaine Maxwell, that's the biggie. That's the plum of plums. The Rittenhouse thing will get the Proud Boys happy, but the ones that'll be happy with the Maxwell thing is, and she got a bail, I guess, of $22 million that is being covered by somebody. Of course, the brother of Epstein owns the 66 building that they say is still being used like it was before for young girls who have lodged there. And it's been seen that I think the ambassador to the United States from Israel was seen coming and going there. And the filming of young girls and the parties and so forth has happened there, as well as on the Trump plane. The Epstein plane. It might have been the Trump plane too, but it was the Epstein plane. Bill Clinton was there. Dershowitz was there. All the characters that are tied in with this Epstein background, which we know a little bit about. The guy that was hung inside of his own cell, a ceiling that was 9 foot high, and a bedstead that had a bar in it that was about 30 inches off the floor. Someone was hung in that place. There's long suspicion that it was another body that was used to hide the fact that he could be escaped. There was 2 hours of missing tape on what happened in that cell of his at that time. This policing place was run by the federal marshals. It was a police place, it was jail run by them, considered the most corrupt part of our jail system that the federal marshals run. It is considered corrupt and has big history there. So the Epstein thing is going to be serious. They're going to try to hang everything on Maxwell without mentioning Prince Andrew, without mentioning Donald Trump, without mentioning Clinton, without mentioning Epstein, without mentioning any of the characters that have been involved in this sex trafficking thing that Epstein was doing all these years, and probably gave birth to the idea of QAnon. And that is why Trump has echoed the QAnon thing too, which accuses Democrats of doing that, of running sex trafficking and eating children. Maybe they're only eating the fingers of children, you suppose. I mean, they're guilty. Epstein's guilty. Trump attended the parties and said, aren't they kind of young? He's on record and has been heard saying that on the video to Epstein, aren't they kind of young? Oh, dear me. I'm going to pardon them in a heartbeat so I don't get included in the testimony in the trial, because there's going to still be a trial, and she can expect a pardon at the end of all of that. She won't go to jail beyond maybe an overnight before she gets a hearing, but she's already had that, so she's already had time spent there. Yeah, they're very worried about her. Ghislaine Maxwell, the pimp, the female pimp for Epstein. That's what she was. Know that. She recruited young girls. She looked for certain ones between 13 and 15. They wanted those girls, and they would take them to the island that Epstein owned and fly them in, and they've got testimony from the gardeners and people like that, saw these hundreds of girls coming and going back and forth, being shipped here and there. And it's long been alleged that Epstein was selling these kids to Saudi Arabia. So when we talk about Saudi Arabia and Epstein, know that other people went to Saudi Arabia on that plane as part of a party and landed in Saudi Arabia as these kids were dumped off for money. This is sex trafficking in the prime thing. And Saudis bought these kids online It's a standard practice over there. There was a movie years ago called Taken, the very first one, and it showed a pretty good illustration of how they did it and what they did and what still is going on. It's a major scandal. Unfortunately, some very big names are tacked into this thing, so they're holding their breath that this Maxwell thing doesn't make the news and get things out and get out of control. They're going to try to control this. And Biden's relationship to the Clintons might be suspect. Will he protect them and protect Trump in the process? Who will do what? Trump knows all these things, knows these dark secrets, and knows he's up to his eyeballs in this stuff. So he's going to pardon as many people that are going to help him as he can. That's what will be a guarantee, folks. A guarantee, nonetheless. That's a story to be told a little further, but we'll do that story as well. Thank you very much.